This episode is brought to you by 20 Past 4, your one-stop vape and head shop. They get new stuff weekly. Stop in and check them out. 4 locations, 2 in Great Falls, 1 in Helena, 1 in Billings, and Guerrilla Warfare Apparel. The best gear in the fight world. Join the Guerrilla Gang in 2023 because we are taking over. Be sure to use our code TWB10 for 10% off at checkout. That's TWB10 at checkout. And Jamie St. Mark's.
Who's ready for the weekly bust? You're in the right place if you came to catch the show. Tylin and Levi are the names of your host. Who the next guest is, I really wanna know. Conversation escalating, let's get to the show. Who's ready for the weekly bust?
Season 4, Episode 2. Jake?
We got Brian Maxwell and your boys at the Weekly Bus coming to you now.
Brian, how you doing tonight, my man?
Pretty good. How about yourself? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. We are missing Tylin tonight. Apparently, he is sick. He was getting sick as we were leaving here last night, and apparently today is no bueno.
Yeah, I feel this pain, man. I've been in the second week of my weight cut / detox of getting rid of junk food and shit. Yeah, I've been feeling like wild the past 2 days.
Yeah?
Your body's really throwing it back to you there.
What made you choose to do that?
I may have something. I can't really announce it yet.
Okay.
But I got something coming up. So, I've started my weight cut, and yeah, I'm fighting at, well, I can say this. I'll be fighting at 185, so that'll be the vibes.
There we go, 185, Brian Maxwell.
All right. What weight do you usually fight at?
185, 195, 205. It's been a mix.
Okay, I'm just kind of bounce up or down wherever they kind of need you at.
Okay.
I've always done that, like fought different weight classes, even when I was an amateur fighter. And I won at the end of my amateur career, ended up winning 7 titles in 3 different weight classes, 185, light heavyweight, and a heavyweight.
Damn,
oh, shit. Okay.
Busy constantly defending titles and stuff.
Yeah, like that was a wild moment. And, it got to a point where I couldn't even get fights anymore as an amateur, which was wild in itself. I tried other states. I tried another country. None of it ever worked out. None of those game plans ever worked out because people would accept the fight or back out. I once got to a fight and the person backed out, like literally before I got there. And I was like there, and the promoter didn't even tell me that the guy backed out hours before instead of making that fucking drive. I was kind of pissed, but I still stayed and watched the show. So it is what it is at that point.
Right. I mean, if you already made the drive, might as well enjoy the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, the show was like a real small show. It was in like I think it was like a little concert hall or something like that. It was like super small, but I was gonna stay anyway because one of my old teammates was on the fight card anyway. So, whatever to support him. So it is what it is.
So is that or how long have you been in the BKFC and how'd you get involved there?
I've been involved with the BKFC since like BKFC 2 because one of my training partners got the call from them to fight on BKFC 2, and of course I trained with him. He asked me to corner him, so that was a way in, but it wasn't my time yet. But I've been watching BKFC since BKFC 1 because of Reggie Barnett. He's another Virginia guy, and
shout out to Reggie for sure.
Me personally, I try to support my peoples, and of course me and Reggie have fought on several fight cards and when we were amateurs, so the support was there. So like I said, I've been around since BKFC 2. I showed up to BKFC 2. A lot of people thought I was fighting BKFC then, and I was like, no, I'm here with my training partner, because in the earlier days, when they had the cameras on you and stuff like that, following you in when you landed and stuff, that the cameras were on me instead of my training partner. I was like, no, this is for him. I'm not trying to steal
right. Like, I'll be here, but not right now.
Yeah, I'm not trying to steal his shine, you feel what I'm saying? Because I literally had just fought 2 weeks before that, and I had fought a guy that fought in Bellator, and I ended up beating him in like a minute and 20 some seconds in the first round. So, I was still pretty high on glory with that. And, like I was telling people, I'm not here to take my training partner shine, because I'm not that kind of person. I'd rather have my own shine and be involved with that instead of trying to take somebody else's, because like I said, I'm not that type of guy.
Okay, true. I feel that.
So you're saying amateur. So were you doing mostly MMA stuff, or were you just kind of doing anything you could toss your hat in the ring with as far as
Maybe
fighting?
No,
rotate the mic a little bit, bro.
when I was an amateur, all I did was pure MMA, and I would go to big grappling tournaments. Like the biggest one I went to when I was an amateur, like right there towards the end of my amateur career, I went to the MMA World Expo up there in New York City, and Bellator was there. Uh, well, what is called now Professional Fighters League was there, but they were called World Series of Fighting back then, and the UFC was there, and I actually got to meet
All of them the same weekend?
Yeah, because
Like
it
all
was
those
like
events were going on?
Yeah, it was an MMA World Expo, so they were in the Javits Center
Oh,
up there
okay.
in New York City. So they had that expo going on there. So, but in the middle of the expo, they had a big grappling tournament, and then Muay Thai, a Muay Thai ring, and then a cage set in there too for fights later on that night. And
Yeah.
I got to meet John Jones and Anderson Silva.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
I got to meet. Oh, damn, I forgot who the World Series of fighting champion was back then, but he had the 185 and the 205 title. And, he asked me if I wanted to take a picture with him. And I was like, I pissed him off when I said. I told him that I don't want to take a picture with somebody whose belts I want to get one day.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
And how'd he take that? He was like, no.
Yeah, he was kind of pissed, and people were looking at me like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like, that shit was wild. But I ended up doing the grappling tournament that day. I did the gi and no gi. I was a white belt at the time. Like, I was literally a beginner white belt, but I should have been like a blue belt just because of how high level my wrestling is. And I was beating the hell out of blue belts at that point in time. But you got to start from somewhere. But I ended up winning the tournament in gi and no gi. And then after the tournament, like I said, a lot of people were watching, and I ran into Henzo Gracie, which I had met him before because he was at one of my amateur title fights down here in Virginia, and man, it was cool, man. Like, that really started, part of my journey of meeting bigger name people and being exposed to bigger and better opportunities.
So you've been around the fight world for a while then.
Hell yeah, man. It's been.
So when did you start your amateur career? Like, how old were you?
I was 20. Hold on. 23, 24. Like,
Okay.
I literally started my amateur career. Like, I literally had my first amateur fight. Hold on. 4 months after my son was born.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like, I literally had
You've
my
just been
first
fighting ever since.
Yeah, so my son is 11 now. Like I said, I literally started my amateur career 4 months after my son was born, and he's been in the gym with me ever since he was literally 2 days old, literally.
So with that, since we're talking about your kid, you said you don't want your son to grow up to be a fighter, but you want him to wrestle. Can you explain why?
Because, man, this is different. I mean, he wants to do it, but told him, he doesn't have to follow in my footsteps with doing it unless he really wants him to do it. But I really don't want him to do it just because of the injuries and all that crazy jazz. But he wrestles, man. Like, this is his first full year of wrestling, and I actually coached his team for the first time this year. He's a sixth grader, and we had the city championships today, and as a sixth grader, he won the city championships and finished his school sixth grade middle school record undefeated at 8-0. So I'm pretty proud with that, and he's turning out to be a pretty good to decent wrestler, and but overall, my son is 19-5 for the season with, tournaments that aren't through the school.
Oh, there
I
you
try to
go.
take them.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to take them to tournaments. If I'm not busy, I try to take them to tournaments on the weekend, whether it's local or we got to travel. We actually got another, since it's middle school season's over, we actually got a tournament next weekend in my hometown where I'm from. So we're gonna go crash that and see how he does with that. And then after that, we got middle school states, and hopefully, I think he will. I think he'll place this year, so we can go to nationals and put some more eyes on him, because he's creating a little buzz for himself.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
So was wrestling your thing then in school and stuff? Is that kind of how you got interested in fighting? Because I just heard you a little bit ago talking about your kind of wrestling background. Kind of how did you all get into that then?
Hell yeah, man. Wrestling is one of the biggest main focuses of my life. It saved I tell people this, even, the kids that I coach, and I even tell their parents, wrestling saved my life, because I could be like some of my friends or former friends, dead on drugs or in jail, if it wasn't for wrestling, because wrestling disciplined me. It kept me out the streets, and it got me all the way to college. So, that's pretty big in itself. You feel what I'm saying? I started wrestling when I was 13. I actually had to sneak to do it because my mom wasn't going to allow me to do it because she thought it was unsafe.
You want to see your baby getting slammed around?
Right. I was gonna say I only wrestled for like a year and a half, from a weekend from junior season and about till January. So right before state finals, because I was graduating early of my senior year. So I only did it. But first season I lost every wrestling match but the last one. So that was like, well, fuck it. I won one, so I'm gonna come back and win more. Went to the summer camp, kicked ass there, and now won all but 3 in the senior year. But
hell yeah, that's what's up.
I didn't go to the wrestle off, so I was by fault on JV. So
yeah.
Hell yeah. Like I was saying, I actually had to sneak to wrestling practice because my mom was making me play basketball at the time, and I fucking got burnt out and hated basketball. And plus, some of the guys that I grew up around, I grew up around wrestling. I just couldn't do it. But like I said, I had a basketball tryout. I made it to the final cut. And the day of final cuts, I was like, man, screw this. I'm not trying to do this anymore. So I slid, literally went down to the next part of my school and went to wrestling practice and got my ass pretty much handed to me for a while.
Feel that. I was trying to do the different route. I didn't want to wrestle, but I didn't make the basketball team because I didn't play basketball before that. You know what I mean? But I was good at ball, but I wasn't that good at ball. Like one kid went to play at Wazoo, Ryan Edwards. Anyway, and our wrestling room was right upstairs. So the next morning, Michael was like, hey, so I heard you didn't make the basketball team, but we'd love to have you on our wrestling team. So come on, give it 2 weeks. See if you don't like it, you can stop doing it. And 2 weeks later, I was still there. So
yeah, come check it out and then I'm enjoying it.
That's what he said, dude. Give it 2 solid, Mondays to Fridays. And if you hate it by then or if you can quit, but I don't know. I don't like quitting. So
that was my thing too, So I kept going to wrestling practice until finally one day I was coming out of wrestling practice and I see my mom standing up there at the wrestling gym, and I was like, oh fuck, that's my ass.
I thought you were supposed to be in basketball.
And that's what she said too.
Give me a ball. Is this basketball? This is basketball. See, Mom?
Yeah, that's what I thought she was going to say.
We call this cross gen. This is cross gen basketball.
Hell yeah, but when she see me and we locked eyes, like I thought it was the end of my life, the end of my world. But on the car ride home, we got to talking, and she supported it ever since then. And my first couple wrestling matches, they didn't go so well as a 7th grader. I got my ass beat. My very first wrestling match, I wrestled a girl and got toasted in like 30 seconds.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Like it was bad. I was so mad. I threw my headgear. I was like, man, fuck this. I ain't doing this no more. Went in the locker room, cried like a baby. And then one of the coaches and one of my teammates came in there, and they talked to me. It's like, you know what, we can just get right back to work tomorrow. It's okay. Everybody loses. Everybody's not always going to win, all the time. And my coach kind of, threw it in there back then. Even though you lost to a girl, it will be okay. And after that, it was game time. But it took me a couple matches to win my first one, and I wasn't even in the starting lineup at that. I was getting prelim wrestling matches for like the first half of the season, and then I built my way into the lineup. After that, it was game time.
That's good though. Learning how to lose gracefully makes you into a way better winner. Like at the end of the day, so a couple tough.
I was a sore loser. From 7th grade.
I still am. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, no one likes losing, you know what I mean. But if you're a competitor, it just gives you that drive and that hunger to come back. So,
hell yeah,
you know what I mean. So,
yeah, I was a big sore loser from 7th grade to my senior year, man. Like, if I lost a match that I knew I should have won, I would completely flip. Like, especially my senior year. I was going for my 3rd district title, and the guy that I went against, man, that was literally my arch rival. We wrestled at least 5 to 6 times a year, every year that I was in high school. And my senior year, he beat me one time on a technicality because his coach was my ex-coach from all my years from middle school to high school until my senior year. He went to a different school, and my ex-coach was his coach, and he went whining to the refs about a stalling call or something, and the ref gave him a point in overtime, and he beat me then. And then, like I was saying, I was going for my 3rd district title my senior year, and I was literally whooping this kid's ass. I beat him for the rest of the million times we wrestled that year, and then, like I said, in the district finals, I was whooping his ass, and I started playing around and got caught, and we were tied. It was a tie match, and it was like 10-10, and I got to the point where I was like, shit, let's go to overtime. And what I did was I shot in on him, and I got the takedown. I literally got the takedown, and he reversed me. So the ref didn't give me my takedown and gave him the points, and literally the match ended right there. And they gave him the win. I was so pissed. I took my headgear off. I threw it in the crowd, and when I threw it in the crowd, by 1 point,
you lost.
Huh?
You lost by 1 point.
Yes, sir. And when I threw my headgear in the crowd, it happened to hit one of the people that was one of the newspaper people that was there recording the match and was going to put it in the newspaper. And then I kicked over some chairs, went in the locker room, was throwing stuff, and you could hear it out in the gym. And they end up writing an article about the match, and it looked like I blew up my school or something. It was so bad. I still have that article literally till this day. Like, it was bad.
So you're the type of guy, if you take an L, it's like
Maxwell goes berserk after loss.
We're gonna have to give him a hot minute here. A hard 5 here. Let him cool down for a second.
Right?
Yeah, man. It was wild, but like I look, when I got to college, I looked back on that and was like, man, that was fucking wild. I haven't exploded since then, except for maybe once after a fight. I mean, I won the fight, but I didn't have the best performance that I could have had. So yeah, I kind of flipped out because I should have beat the dude faster than I did. I was just on that type of time back then.
I want to throw it out there for anyone that's watching or tuning in on Instagram. We will have regular internet, our own weekly bus internet tomorrow. Shout out to our boy from Hudson Trash Removal, my boy Kyle Hudson. He's getting us internet tomorrow. So
what up? Thanks, Kyle.
Brian, do you believe in aliens? Like, living on the East Coast, I don't know how that works because you guys have like a lot of city. You know what I mean? We only have a little bit of city, so I do because I've seen them.
I mean, where I'm from, there's a lot of trees and a lot of open space. I'm from literally the country part of Virginia. A lot of people think Virginia is like cities everywhere. No, Virginia is like.
But Virginia don't they still do like authentic moonshine around there? Isn't that where that?
Yeah, I'm from the
Shiners TV show's from?
I'm from the Moonshiners TV show is literally filmed where I'm from. Like, we call it the Moonshine.
Okay.
The Moonshine capital of the world, man. Like it's literally dope as fuck. Like, and I've actually met those guys. They're cool as hell, and my family knows their family, and some other
right. It's like
other alleged things that I can't discuss. You know what I'm saying?
if there's tax on it, it ain't moonshine. You know what
Facts.
I mean?
Yeah, my buddy I know for a long time. I think he was from like Kent Virginia, but it was like kind of more southeastern, like along the border there. But I don't know if it's Kent for sure. I can never remember the name of it. But
It's probably New Kent, Virginia. That's probably where your buddy's from.
okay. But yeah, he ended up passing away a couple of years ago. But so I wish I could call him up and ask him. And then, but anyways, so but he always just talked about how beautiful it was down there and how much he loved it, and just he was a big hunter. You know, he loved doing all that shit, duck hunting. So
Yeah, man, we got everything down here. Like I literally seen, like, when I was like 15 years old. I never believed it, but I finally seen one for the first time. Me and one of my best friends were walking back to his grandpa's house, and I seen a mountain lion for the first time and took the fuck off.
yeah.
Oh, dude, those cats are scary, bro. Like, there was like, I don't want to call it a zoo, but somebody had an exotic animals license right outside one of these towns in Montana. It was called Noxon, and they had 2 tigers, a black bear, a bobcat. Me and Ty talk about it all the time. A peacock and a mountain lion. The mountain lion stayed in like the house's garage, dude. And you'd walk, because you'd have to walk by the garage to get to the backyard where all the other animals were at. And that motherfucker would like just circle around in there, just staring at you. Like, dude, if this motherfucker gets out, we're dead.
Man, that growl alone,
We
that
are.
growl alone will fuck you up, man. Like, if I think meat growls or whatever it does, man, that right there makes
Yeah,
you
like-
shit your pants.
Yeah, that hissing and pissing type shit, I call
So
it.
back to Levi's question though, with all that open space and mountain out there, have you seen anything funky? Any weird lights going around out there? What's going on? We need to know.
I mean, I
If
seen
you're from the mountains,
a
that means you don't have light pollution then.
right. I seen
I've
a
seen it right
three-legged.
above my house.
I seen a 3-legged black bear once.
Damn.
3-legged black bear. That's something I'd never heard of. That's
Yeah,
alien,
man.
right?
Yeah.
That's an alien. That sounds alien. I mean, or that I've never seen an albino bear either. Not even on the internet. So
I've seen several albino
cool,
deer here, which is
deer, yes,
pretty
I've
super
seen
rare.
deer, but I've never seen bear.
Man, I actually seen a moose for the first time when I was out there in Montana.
Did
Like,
you?
that was wild.
Those things are
Yes.
awesome, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's
Yeah.
that's not a lot. I don't even see him when I live here. I hardly see him at all. Last
Yeah,
one I
like
see was
some
swimming across
lady-
the lake in Glacier National.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some lady was like, "Yeah, we're not that far from Canada, so it's very rare to see one every once in a blue moon." I was like, "Well, I guess I seen a moose for the first time in my life. Hell
There
yeah!"
you go. Yeah, that's what's up. And
Yeah, elk. I see elk a lot because we have a cabin in like right at the Bob Marshall Wilderness, but moose hardly ever.
Yeah. Well, and just to see any of that stuff, it's fun, seeing it on TV. But then when you can say you actually saw something, and just when you
And that
see them up
motherfucker's
close, they're
huge, dude.
Even
It's
the
like,
small
holy
ones,
shit.
yeah, they're huge. So
Yeah,
so-
that thing
That is
was
like our
huge as
elephant.
So you've been to Montana a few times, and I didn't know much about you, so I had to do a quick little internet search of you, and I've seen you fought a couple locals here from Montana, in the Great Falls area specifically. Was that the only experiences you've had out in Montana? Really? Do you plan on coming out again, or?
Hell yeah, I'm down to go wherever, man. I like to travel. I like to see different type of environments. I actually love Montana because the weather out there is just like Virginia weather. It's very unpredictable because the first time I came there, it literally was sunny, then it got cold, then the next morning it was sleeting, then it snowed, and then the sun came back out. Then it
That's
was
been our
raining
last
later on that
24
day.
hours that you just described.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
It was 48 hours ago. It was nice 50-degree weather. Wake up yesterday, it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so-
man, that's just like this bipolar ass Virginia weather. So I completely understand.
So have you do you have any fights coming up, or you said you kind of have some stuff you can't really announce? Are you training then right now? You said you're getting
Yeah, I mean, I'm
ready.
always training, but as of right now, I'm 3 weeks into fight camp, getting ready for something, which I can't release yet.
little little. There you go. All right.
Yeah, which I can't release yet, but it's going to be happening soon. So, I'm getting ready for that, and I'm training my ass off, and like I've told a couple teammates and a couple people around me, I've gone what they say in wrestling, I've turned heel. I've turned into the bad guy again.
Yeah.
Because coming into BKFC, I came in humble just because I got a big opportunity, so I wanted to be as humble as I could be because I'm getting a chance to be a part of a company and help represent a company that's going to be growing. And now, you know, we're here at what, BKFC, like 30 something. And I've been
35
around
last,
it.
35 last night. Bare Knuckle Knucklemania's 36.
Damn.
February 17th. The Weekly Bus live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Come
Yes,
on
sir.
out. Hell yeah.
And
Boys.
you know, I've been super humbled about it, and you know that super humbleness has showed in my fights where I haven't had the tenacity and the beast mode that I'm known for before I got to the BKFC. So, you know, I told myself my New Year's resolution is to turn back into that old guy where, you know, I talk shit to people. I was in people's faces. I caused a bunch of shit, and I backed it up with my fighting and beat the fuck out of people. And, you know, that's a thing that I've grown into since January 1st, 2023. So, yeah, if I seem like an asshole, I'm not going to say like an asshole during interviews, but seem like an asshole like at weigh-ins or during the fights. That's just the
I
old
think
me
that's
coming
good
back.
though, because then that can help your mental, you know what I mean? Like, what is that called? Adrenaline, I guess. I was like,
mental tenacity, you know, just kind of just building up that
because if you, I was gonna say, I get staying humble or all that shit, but like fight night weigh-ins, I feel like you got to get amped up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that's
Hell
what
yeah,
I
man.
seen was
Hell yeah, and that's one thing I've been missing, the old me, because you know being humble is definitely not me, man. I've wrestled my whole life, just about high school, middle school, and in college, and internationally, and I've been around the world to wrestle. So you know, being cocky is just natural as a wrestler when you got a high level of wrestling, anyways, and you know, being humble is just not it for me, man. I can't. That's not me anymore. I can't do it. It's killing me.
So, are you kind of switching up anything training wise? Are you fighting with a different gym or anything? Because I know it's not a easy thing to bring up. I've seen you had a few L's recently. Is that kind of a part with you feel like not necessarily like you're playing it soft, but you're being a little too coming
mellow
towards it? Yeah, mellow approaching it. You're trying to be a little too neutral approaching it, or what do you think's kind of led to a couple of those hard L's you've had recently?
Man, you know, it's nothing to do with training at all, because I train my ass off to the best of my abilities. I train with other guys that are bigger or better than me, even smaller guys that are better than me. My training is correct. Is, you know, like I said, I've been too humbled, and being humbled has affected my fighting tremendously.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? And the cocky, more, I'm not going to say street me, but the more cocky, arrogant me, you know, kind of came out in that last fight with the Leo Brashear. But Big Dan Mergliata just didn't want me to live my best life. So, yeah.
it happens.
Well, and I've watched you, and I watched a couple of fights real quick, and there's, you know, a couple of times you just, my buddy, well, not my buddy, I know James Dennis a little bit from growing up when I was younger, and you got a couple good shots on him and Leo, and it just looked like, you know, they connected well, and if you could have just kind of landed a couple more, threw a couple more punches together, maybe you could have had him, you know, a little bit on the ropes there. So
yeah,
my
because
fight,
Dennis, he took a pretty good one in that fusion. That was a fight. They got down.
yeah, my fight with James Dennis, man, that was a super duper emotional fight for me. And, you know, I told myself I wanted to fight with emotion in that fight, but that didn't work out too well. It was just that fight, not to make an excuse or anything, that fight kind of hit me hard because, you know, it was the anniversary of it was my brother's birthday, and it was the anniversary of his death, all within that fight week. So, you know, I was super emotional, and I tried to say that my head was on right, but it wasn't. And, you know, I had some family things going on here back at home because of one of my aunts. You know, she had literally been put in the hospice the day that I got to Montana, and she literally died the next day while I was in Montana. And yeah, that shit had me all fucked up.
yeah, man, for real.
Yeah, no, that's a lot to go through.
That's tough. You kind of want to do it for them, you know, but that's just
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I
then
tried
you
to
don't
play
get a
it off.
proper, you know what I mean? You don't get proper thought process of how to go about your next fight, and it just spirals.
Hell yeah.
That's a tough headspace
Yeah, but
to get through anyways.
yeah, but big shout out to my family for waiting till I got back and to clear my head to have her funeral, man. That was a big blessing, but sad moment at the same point in time because they waited for me to get back from Montana and get my head back right within a couple of days to have my aunt's funeral. So that was good for me mentally and all
Obviously,
that
she
good
meant something
jazz.
to you know what I mean? So that's cool that they
Yeah.
When I meant no disrespect to your trainer or anything, I just didn't know, like I said, after you take a couple like that, I didn't know if you're trying to switch up a little bit of something,
Deep. Sorry.
Oh man, you good, bro. That's like I told what you call it earlier. Nothing's off limits. You say what you say, and if you think that you've seen something bad with my training, you can say that, man.
No,
Like,
I haven't.
no
Yeah.
harm, no
nothing.
harm, no foul. But with my training, everything's great.
Yeah.
I've actually kicked it up a notch, and
So
we got some
coaches, right?
Yeah, I use different coaches, but I'm consistent with those coaches. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not like a gym hopper or one of those people who bounce
no,
around.
yeah.
Yeah,
You just go get extra rounds in where you can. I get that.
When I just didn't know if
'cause-
you're sticking specifically with just bare knuckle, if there's different like fighting styles. I don't know. I'm kind of just getting into the bare knuckle stuff, learning.
Yeah, he just joined us at the last Fusion event, and we had a blast of a time, Berber.
So that's for me. I just
yeah.
don't know if there's like different fighting styles that you kind of can dive into that you're trying different than last time, or what kind of a plan of attack maybe you're going for that's a little bit different this time than the last time. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, man. Each coach's approach to the fight game is different. And I'm a student of the game just like anybody else should be. I'm an open book. I'm always open to tweak something or to add something or try something new, or bring back some old fire, which I'm currently doing right now. And in my next fight, you guys will definitely see the old fire that I've so drastically been missing since 2019 when I first came into bare knuckle. And some big things coming. I got some other big announcements this year. I'm gonna go ahead and throw one announcement out there. If the Davis Garcia fight card happens, I might be linked in on that card. And yeah, so I'm gonna drop that right now. So
there you go.
Nice little
April type deal,
nice.
right?
But that's not the fight. That's not the fight that I got coming up. I'm just saying
that's something else.
That's what I might be. I might be linked into, whether I'm fighting on it or doing something with the promotion or whatever to help with the fight card. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah.
I do. Who would you say your hardest fight was all time?
My hardest fight all time was, I'd say my hardest fight all time would be my third title defense of my 205 title. The guy that I fought, me and him had fought twice before. He was actually my second MMA fight ever and gave me my first loss as an MMA fighter. And then literally a couple fights later, we fought I went on a crazy streak of winning fights after that loss. And, we end up fighting in a 205 eliminator tournament. And I end up fighting twice that night. And I end up meeting him in the finals to be the challenger for the 205 title. And, that second time I beat the fuck out of him. The crowd booed me because we were in his hometown, of course. And I beat the dog shit out of him in like a minute. And then, I went on another streak. I was winning belt after belt, defending. And when it came time for him, he came back up the rankings, and I had to defend my belt against him. And it was a super big hype around me and him fighting again because, like I said, he gave me my first loss, and then the second time I beat the shit out of him. And
hell yeah,
that third fight, man, and it was a dog fight because before then, I used to end fights and I was never in the cage longer than half of a fight round. Literally before that, whether it was a win, lose, or a draw, I was not in the cage no more than one round. And that fight was my first 5-round battle, and we battled it out. And
It's a big old grudge.
you know, yeah, that shit was
But that
tough,
feels like
man.
the one that you got to take all the way, right? Second title defense, third time you fought the guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, that sounds like the one you got.
Look, I was heading into that fight. I was literally heading into that fight. Was like, look, I know this guy got better. I got better too. I'm not trying to take this a million rounds. I'm gonna get him out of here in the first round. And come to find out, we end up going to all 5 rounds. I'm dead tired, about to pass out because I ain't never been that far in a fight before. Neither has he. And Misha Tate actually happened to be at that fight, so that was cool. So yeah, man, that was my hardest fight, man, just because of the simple fact that, I went all those rounds for the first time ever in my career.
Yeah. Well, just trying to, stay like mentally in the fight, and then trying to remember your training, your breathing and everything else. And it's pretty intense.
There was no breathing at all in that fight. It was like straight go mode that whole fight, man.
Second through fifth round, wind was being huffed.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the Great Falls crowd here? Like, I'd say BKFC 24, the first time we were here in April. What do you think of that? That place was rocking.
Man, I like the Montana crowd for real. Like, that crowd was like, after the first time I fought there, I didn't really interact with the crowd because I was in my feelings and blah blah blah. But the second time when I fought Leo, and our fight was what our fight was, and it is what it is with that fight. That crowd there, like, I don't think I took that many pictures and signed so many autographs in that crowd in a while. Like, that crowd showed a lot of love, and of course, Leo's the hometown guy, and me and this man, we chatted it up after the fight, and I got introduced to a lot of people that was like, man, that was an awesome ass fight, and a lot of people called it, even though it didn't go all 5 rounds, called it like a short fight of the night for real.
Yeah. So that brings up another fight, an interesting one. Fighting on the Floyd Mayweather Jake Paul card first. Chad Ochocinco.
That's my guy, man. That's literally that's my guy. Like, that's one of my biggest supporters right now, and
that's awesome.
Like, it's literally crazy that y'all bring up that fight, because a post that I made back in 2012, 2013, I entered a Floyd Mayweather contest and I ended up winning it. So he sent me some socks and stuff. And I actually got those socks on today, which is crazy because this is the first time I've worn them in a long time. I call them my lucky socks.
You gonna let us peep them or what?
Hold on.
He's like, oh man, I gotta stretch out here.
I gotta take one of them off.
Tylin and you boys are all about the socks, right? So
we're about how high your socks are.
Hey, look, everybody knows.
That was a good
when I come to fights, you better be looking at either my socks or my glasses or what I'm wearing, but it's mainly my socks because, big shout out to Odd Socks and DJ Tony. They always hook me up with something before every fight.
Shout out to DJ Tony. An Odd Socks.
Yes, sir. But here's my TNT socks.
Oh,
Money Team socks.
That's awesome.
I literally got these socks in like 2012, 2013. And I literally made a post with these socks in it and the other stuff that I got. I got a t-shirt, another pair of socks, a pair of shorts. I got to find those actually because those were like my favorite shorts at that point in time. And I literally said one day in the near future, I will be fighting for Floyd Mayweather. And just so happened 2K21, it finally happened.
So
the year after the pandemic.
Yeah. So how did the Chad Johnson thing, like, how did that all come about? How was that presented to you? How was this opportunity kind of,
Good question.
Yeah. How was how did this all go about? You know what I mean? Do you have like a manager? You just kind of in the right circuit and just explain that?
Man, look, till this day, it is January the 28th.
Oh,
28th of 2023. And I am still confused and baffled and do not know how the fuck I even got that fight.
Yeah.
Like literally, I guess it's not what you know, it's who you know these days, because literally, I hadn't planned that fight. I never knew I was going to get that fight. I literally fought. I'm thinking, even though I'm still baffled about it, I think it was a promoter that I had fought for earlier in the year. I took a fight on like a boxing fight on like 2 weeks notice down there in Miami. And I think it was that promoter who got me the fight. I don't know if it was him or not, but I'm thinking it was him
And then an
because it
email
was
just popped up one day, or what?
Yeah, they give you a call or what?
man, it wasn't like when I got the call, it wasn't from him though. I literally got a message on Instagram when I was on the way to Alabama for BKFC Alabama when they first had their first fight card in Alabama. I literally got an Instagram message from Chad. I was like, what the fuck? Why the fuck is Ochocinco messaging me?
Is this a spam account or what's going
Yeah,
on?
like I literally thought it was a spam account because when you get to a certain point on Instagram, I only had like 2,000 followers at that point. And I was like, man, this is probably a spam. So I clicked on the profile when I had stopped and got gas, and I'm looking at the profile, and he got this blue check, and I'm like, damn, man, this shit fake still. He got 1 million followers. This is a spam account. Fuck this. So he messaged me back again. I was like, is this really Ochocinco? He's like, yeah. Why would I message you if it wasn't? And I was like, man, this shit is fake. Man, I literally
That's a
told him this
fake
shit
blue
is
check.
fake. And
What did he
then
message you? What did he say to you?
he was like, hey Brian, can you help me out with something? That's why I thought it was like
Oh,
a spam.
the
I thought it
setup
was
really
fake.
was like that too. Like, just send me
Yeah,
$50. I'll send you
Yeah,
2,500.
2K. And
Yeah,
shit.
right.
yeah. I thought it was one of those
Oh my God.
Cash App scams. You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Hi,
I
can you
messaged
help me? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was fake. And we sent a couple messages back and forth while I was at the gas station. And then, he's like, man, I'm about to send you a video so you know it's me. And when he sent me the video that it was him, he's like, call me. And I was like, oh, shit. Maybe this is real because it was him in the video. He was at, I think it was his middle child's track meet. And, like I said, he was verified that it was him. So I kind of blew it off. And, I was already close to Alabama and almost at the fights. So, I kind of blew it off. And then, things kind of seemed weird at that fight, at the Alabama fights, because, another promoter called me and asked me what I was doing on this, and this date. And I kind of blew him off. And I was like, man, this is mad weird. And then, and, I got some weird vibes from a couple podcasters. Like they already knew about it, but I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a weird
Shout out
weekend
to us
for me because
podcasters having that inside scoop, baby.
yeah, man, like
Berber.
it was wild. It was a wild time, and I got to interacting with the crowds and stuff, and taking pictures with people and signing autographs, and of course, talking to BKFC family while I was down there in Alabama. And literally on the way back, the next day from Alabama, I get another message from Chad, and I'm like, man, this got to be real, because he was like, call me. And I was like, oh, shit, this shit's getting real. So I kind of blew it off for the rest of the day because I had a 8.5 hour drive back home that ended up turning into a 10-hour drive back home because there was a wreck in Tennessee. So
Yeah.
that sucked. And then literally that Monday, that's when shit really got weird. I started getting crazy messages. And I told my active running manager at the time, like call this number, see if it's really Chad. And she was like, nah, you do it. And I was like, man, fuck. And then, I got the call, hey, so the reason why Chad messaged you was because that's who you're gonna fight. And I was like, what?
Mm.
And we
Fighting Chad Ochocinco. He's a
and I'm
wide
like,
receiver. What the hell?
it freaked me out because I'm like, oh, this is like my favorite football player of all time. You can ask anybody from anywhere who was my favorite football player and who I idolized as a kid. I even wore the same jersey number as him when I was in middle school, but I switched it up when I got to high school because of the position I played. And I was freaking out. I still thought that shit was fake, for real, for real. And, I kind of shed a man tear that day because, when everything came to fruition, I talked to BKFC, and, we got all that handled, and they let me know everything that was going on. So I was like, oh shit, this is life changing. Like, this is going to be something that helps me for the rest of my fucking life. And
cool exposure for sure.
yeah, definitely the exposure. And like I said, I'm going to always say it. I'm part of a company that is still growing, and them giving me an opportunity to step outside the company to not only grow my brand, but also grow the company was a big blessing. And that shit was super mad wild. And I loved every moment of it, every bit of it. I'm still enjoying it because, even after that fight, even though I did call them back and told them I wasn't going to take it because, I had a bare knuckle fight already lined up. And I was like, if this is going to hurt my bare knuckle fight, you know what? I don't want to take it, but I don't mean no harm, but I don't want to take it. But once I got the confirmation that, as long as I didn't get cut up or knocked out or something, my bare knuckle fight was still on. So I
It
was
was
like,
gloved, right? Yeah. It was just
yeah, it was gloved.
regular glove boxing match. Okay.
So,
Yes, sir.
You have to tell him, hey, Chad, I love you, but I'm about to put it on that ass for a minute.
Man, like
I look
my
up to you, but let's throw these things.
Yeah, I'm about to toss
yeah,
it.
man, like my feeling with that fight, man, was like, going into it, I was going to prepare for it, even with all the distractions from the radio shows and podcasts and all the big brands like TMZ calling and Cyrus Radio calling, ESPN contacting me, and Sports Center, and all the national big stuff that comes behind that. Even with those distractions, I was like, I'm coming into this fight. I'm going to train for it like it's a regular fight. I'm going to train my ass off for it. And, I'm going to have to put the pause on him. But when I met him, like, the fanboy inside of me was like, oh, shit, this is crazy. I'm meeting my favorite NFL player. So,
yeah. That'd be like me
respect.
boxing fucking Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey, the corner Champ Bailey?
Fuck yeah.
That's my favorite corner of all time. I got his Redskins jersey in my closet right now.
Nice, dog. That's who got me into football. Was watching him and fucking John Lynch work, dude.
Shout out
Yes, sir.
49ers. I just wanted to
Yeah, throw that one out there, right?
Big shout out to Champ Bailey. He actually followed me on Instagram like a month ago, which was crazy.
Shit, there you go. That blue check, baby. That shit works.
Yes. Man, I'm trying to tell you,
what the Buster's trying to do. Give us a follow.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all follow these guys.
We'll just put a bunch of Christian, figure it out. Whichever one looks better right here. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. So I see you got the red rim glasses on. How did you get the nickname Mr. Red Rims?
Man, actually, the first ever podcast that I did coming into BKFC, I linked up with Nick Bertella, and Joshua Furs, because they were like one of the first BKFC podcasts out. And, I got to talking with them and conversating with them. And, we were shooting the shit, having fun, like I always do on podcasts. I love doing podcasts. And they was like, man, you got to keep wearing those red glasses. This is going to be you. This is how people are going to recognize you. That's how you're going to build your brand, build your name, build everything around you. And at first, I wasn't believing it because, I always got called Steve Urkel in school when I wore glasses. It's just that I didn't have red glasses back then. So I was like, man, this is complete bullshit. So, they start calling me Mr. Red Rims back in 2019. And here we are, 2K23, and Mr. Red Rims has stuck. That's where a lot of people know me as, Mr. Red Rims. I was going to change my Instagram name to that.
That wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been bad at all. But, I had to, going into that Ocho fight, I had to change a lot of my social media things up for people to not necessarily get more access to me, but to be able to know where to follow me at, instead of having a bullshit ass username like I had before the one I had now. So, I had to switch it. Like I said, I had to switch a couple things up with my social media.
And I had to add some like that as tough as you're trying to build some stuff up, like right in the middle.
Yeah, man. So, going into a different realm with different opportunities, and you know, having brands come after me for sponsorships and, you know, people showing me, you know, hitting me up on Cash App and stuff, sending me money for support for the fight and
Nice.
stuff like that. I had to go into a different lane to switch things up, and you know, like so far so good, man. I love everything that came before the fight, during the fight, and after the fight. But the most important thing with me coming from that fight is that, you know, Ochocinco is one of my friends right now, like one of my biggest supporters. I'm actually going to, before my next fight, hopefully I get back down to Miami to be able to train with him for his fight that he may have on something that I mentioned earlier. So yeah.
Hey, well,
So
make sure to
if it is,
make sure to keep the
is.
weekly bus notified on that, man. If you
Yes.
are allowed to share anything, make sure to give us a shout out every once in a while. You know what I mean? Keep us notified on.
Oh man, for
Hell
sure,
yeah.
man. I like
Good
to,
shit, Jake. I like that.
Yeah, just tag
yeah,
us.
man. I like to give people the same opportunity they gave me. So any chance I can give somebody a shout out
And-
when they gave me an opportunity or something, I'll give them a shout out. You feel what I'm saying?
Well,
Like I'm about to be,
it'd just be fun to see your progress, man. You know what I mean? It's always
sir.
seeing someone grinding it out and just hungry to keep thriving for that. So it's always fun watching that.
Yeah, man, this is my life. This is what I do. You feel what I'm saying? I've never, you know, even though I've been told, just because after that last fight, I had, you know, I'm not gonna name their names, but you know, I had several podcasts mention my names and stuff on YouTube and shit, saying this guy should quit fighting, blah blah blah. Y'all know how that goes, and I've personally never quit anything in my life except playing basketball. That's the last thing I ever quit in my life. I'm not known as a quitter. I don't give up on shit. If something is wrong, I'm going to fix it, and that's just me. My mom and my stepdad and my father taught me to never give up on something or never quit. If you want it, you got to be a go-getter to get it. And you know, when I do get my first bare knuckle win, that is going to go through the fucking roof. I'm going to tell y'all that now. It is going to be one of the biggest, most viral things. It's going to be at least I'm going to say one of the most top 20 things that has been through the BKFC that is going to go viral.
You're hearing it now, live,
that.
first on the weekly bust. Brian Maxwell going viral.
Yeah. Well, if it happens up here in Montana,
on a knockout,
we'll be hollering for you, man.
Yes, sir.
When
we're starting to, you know, because we merged into the fight world last April, like we were talking about, 24, because we sponsor Kai Stewart. So
yeah, that's when I seen y'all for the first time. The first time I came to Montana.
Yeah, seeing like then
sure.
we were still like me and Ty weren't even at the same table anymore. You know what I mean? We were all different spots.
Yeah.
Second BK, then we're right there. VIP, you know what I mean? That media, fucking post fight interviews, you know, and now Knucklemania 3, we're gonna do it all.
It's gonna be so awesome.
Yes, sir,
so
man. Hey,
congratulations
on that, man. Y'all came away. I was gonna try to holler at y'all after the last time I was out there. Actually, we ended up hanging out with y'all that night.
I didn't say, me and Ty were in Ty's vehicle chauffeuring Go and Ryan around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we
actually ended up chilling
wild
that night.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was a wild night.
That
was fun.
That's a good time.
I had a good time out there in Montana because, you know, I'm gonna keep it a stack. You know, I was like, damn, this looks like where I come from. 1, I don't see no black people. 2, I don't see no clubs. 3, I don't see no bars. 4, all I see is casinos and
liquor
fucking trees, trees and wilderness out here. It is a
casinos,
plain,
coffee
flat land.
shops, tire stores, car washes, and banks. That's about all we get in here. Money laundering stuff. When I'm getting to the bottom of it, and I will get to the bottom of it.
And cops who pull you over for no reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of washing going on, and I'm trying to find the soap.
Well, next time you're out here,
that's good, dude. That was good.
Next time you're out here, man.
Yeah, that was a good night, man. Like I had fun, man. I got to meet some new people, so that was cool.
Jake, we wanted you at the last one. He was like,
yes, sir.
This guy.
Yeah, so like you were kind of talking, is you were saying you don't like to quit on stuff and whatnot. So Levi and I were kind of talking about that earlier. with the kind of the streak you're kind of on right now, what do you do to kind of stay in it, like mentally, to keep your head where it needs to be to come in and compete at a high level, and and still kind of say, not like you don't think that you deserve to be there, but what do you do to kind of put yourself?
Yeah, how are you re-gearing back into that old animal that you once knew?
Yeah,
Man, look, basically what I'm doing, I'm enjoying being fucking cocky and arrogant all over again. Like, I've been an asshole to some people, even at my job. Like, like people can tell that I've kind of gone a different route with life, and I'm actually at the point to where I'm having a rebirth of loving fighting and training all over again, because at some point in life you get stagnant with something, and I'm not going to say it gets boring, but it gets like right there where you're just like,
you need a shake up.
Yeah, you need a shake up, and that this is my shake up, being the old me. I hate being taking steps back and becoming the old version of myself, but moving forward, the old
But if
version
that
of
brings out
myself.
that dog back in you, you know what I mean? That's what you got to do, right?
I've always had the dog in me in all the fights.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? But, all those fights that I've been in with bare knuckle, with the exception of maybe one, I should have won all of them and should be like literally top 3 bare knuckle fighters right now. Just
like I said,
that, in my own opinion. In my own opinion, I'll probably, when people watch this, I'll get backlash for it. But in my wholeheartedly honest opinion, in all the fights, except for maybe one, I should be a top level guy with the old version of myself.
Okay.
That's pure facts.
The three that I watched, you were hanging in there, man. So you're always like kind of one punch away.
I would say that's the game, dude. You got to get that one. Just a
man,
fist away is what we say.
That's what I was known for, man. My punch power, literally. I could end you in 2 punches, or I could end you in 1 punch, or I could just end you, period, from anywhere, any position in the fight game, whether we were standing on the ground or in what my coach calls a scramble, aka a Mexican standoff.
Hell yeah.
So
So do you partake in smoking pot?
I used to. I used to when I was in college, but a certain situation happened and it scared. I'm not gonna say it scared me, but it did scare me. And they're going to take my full scholarship away. So, I did what was needed. One, because I didn't needed to be doing it at that point in time anyway, because the NCAA was always on our ass about that shit. 2, they were going to take my scholarship away, and 3, I didn't want to go back to home to my mama and her beat the brakes off my ass. And 4, I wanted to prove to myself that, if I stopped doing this, I could stay here and somewhat get my education and be able to finish wrestling on the scholarship. So, I haven't smoked marijuana since 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. I'm going to say 2008, early parts of 2008.
There's a fat chance you probably don't remember what your favorite strain was then.
Things have changed.
Yeah, right.
Things have changed. I mean, I used a lot of CBD stuff. Like I got a lot of CBD bud, like literally, like, because I have like several CBD sponsors, and I always
CBD's good, dude. I like it. I get that the tingle in my fingers. That's how I know it's working.
Hell yeah, man. That shit helps, man. Especially when you're in fight camp and you're fucking like sore. I like the CBD stuff because it helps with your body and doesn't give you the head high as marijuana.
Yeah.
But if I had my choice, I would still be smoking marijuana like on the regular, and because I used to smoke a lot when I was in college until that situation happened. So yeah, I was that guy.
Did you wrestle in Virginia then, or where'd you wrestle for in college?
In college, I wrestled in West Virginia. I wrestled at the West Virginia Institute of Technology. It was back then it was a Division I NAIA school when they had those kind of classifications, but now it's just a I think it dropped to just plain NAIA division, so it doesn't have a D1, D2, or D3 classification behind it. You feel what I'm saying? But I wrestled there. That was my way out, away from growing up where I grew up at, and it was my journey to start a newer life and meet new people and do something with myself, because I always told myself, literally since I was 7 years old, watching all the athletes that came up through where I came from that were way better athletes than I was by the time I got to my senior year, that once they did what they did in high school and got to college, they disappeared off the face of the earth. And I still haven't known or seen any of those guys since then. I know they're alive, but I haven't seen or heard nothing about those guys since then. And my
It
thing
seems
has
like
always
anyone,
been,
around that age, you know what I mean? I heard this people I know from high school. And I only live 3 hours away. So that ain't even bad.
But yeah, my thing has always been, if I'm going to be an athlete, I'm going to do something with it. I wanted to be a professional wrestler because, I was the biggest wrestling fan since I was 4 years old when I watched it with my
Who was your favorite
grandma.
wrestler?
My favorite wrestler of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Really? All right.
Yes, sir.
I was more of a WCW fan, but I fuck hard with the Stone Cold, man.
Yeah, my thing was, on the Monday Night War between, WWF and WCW. That's what my grandma was doing on Monday night, switching back and forth. One go to a commercial, she flipped to this one. That would go to a commercial, that would come to, she flipped the channel. But when SmackDown came on Thursday nights, man, like that was one big thing with my grandma that I had, like watching wrestling. That's what really made me become a big wrestling fan for sure. But that was my dream, to be a professional wrestler. And I actually had the opportunity to actually become a professional wrestler and not have to and skip all the bullshit and go straight into professionalism with wrestling. But I was like, I can't do that forever, but I know I could do that forever. So, but I chose MMA instead because, it was around that time. Like I said, it was right there when my son was about to be born, and I wanted to be a man and do something with myself and give him a role model. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't have anybody else to be his role model or grow up like I did, and my father being in and out of my life and shit like that. That's why I'm very thankful for my stepdad. That was one of the people who taught me how to.
Shout out to stepdads, dude. I was raised 20 years by my stepdad. Well,
Yes, sir. My stepdad has been in my life since I was 13 years old, like literally right there at 13. No, hold on.
See, yeah, mine came in right before my 5th birthday, and then I left at 17 and a half. So,
yeah, hold on. My stepdad's been in my life since I was
living in
11 years old.
14, 15, yeah. Whatever. I was gonna say my mom and dad
math here, children.
Don't worry about our math. Worry about your goddamn self and share it.
Goddamn.
All right, so it's NFL Championship weekend. Who are your picks and what are the score predictions? Go.
Well,
if you watch
with the Eagles and 49ers game, I got that game coming down to a field goal, and I think the 49ers are going to win that game by 3 points. That's my. I think they're going to win that game 27-24 at the end of the game with 10 seconds left. You heard it here first.
You heard it here.
And with the Chiefs and Bengals games, Chad, if you watch this, I apologize, my guy. But Patrick Mahomes,
that's not the person you want to be apologizing to. I'll promise you that.
Patrick Mahomes is actually going to take out the Bengals this time. And I think that game, on
a high ankle sprain. I doubt it. We'll see what happens.
I'm trying to tell you, man, Patrick Mahomes is a dog, man. He got that dog in him. I actually think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to beat the Bengals by 14 points. You heard it here first.
I think
one of these predictions is going to be right. I haven't been wrong about these games so far. So one of these predictions is going to be right.
Joe Cool is looking tough.
I was going to say
I'm nervous for the Niners, man. Whoever they end up, if they make it past this, playing the Chiefs or the Bengals, man, it's going to be tough. So.
But hey, man, that Eagles and Niners game is going to be the best game out of the two this weekend. I'm trying to tell you, that's going to be a hard fought game. Like I said.
Yeah, that one's. I think so, but I think it's not going to be a steamroll, but I
No,
think
it's definitely not going to be a steamroll.
in
It's
the
going to
Bengals
be
game. I
10
think it's not
seconds
going to be a
left.
steamroll, but I'm going. My wife's a Bengals fan. I'm going Joey B and the boys
Dude, that offensive line
by 14 plus. My side.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's
I
a
mean, I'm
bold.
rooting for them. I'm rooting for the Bengals too. But, you know, Patrick Mahomes has been playing different this year, and he really showed the dog in himself in that last game when he sprained his ankle, went to the back, came back, and still showed out. So I'm kind of going with leaning forward with the Chiefs. So, like I said, one of these predictions is going to be right.
I'm just excited for some good
I think
football.
Mr. Burrow will be smoking a cigar tomorrow night.
Joey
so.
Cool is looking. I'm just excited to eat a fuckload of super spicy hot wings and maybe a little bit of pizza.
Hey, you want to know something crazy?
Tomorrow?
The cigars that he
Oh,
smokes?
okay.
Sunday. Yeah, well, tomorrow, duh.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Hell
Sunday.
yeah.
We have Joshua Edwards, Montana rapper, here coming on the show tomorrow night after football, or
Nice.
I don't remember what time.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
So do you have a ritual, anything? Do you have like a team that you like rooting for? Do you just kind of, since you like Chad Johnson and Bailey and stuff like that, do you have a specific team you like rooting for professionally, or?
Yeah, my team has had 3 different names over the past 3 different years.
Commanders now.
Yes, the Commanders now, but originally the Washington Redskins. I'm a huge Washington Redskins fan. I got an RG3 jersey. I got an RG3 jersey. I got a Champ Bailey jersey. I got a Dante Hall jersey. I got a couple more jerseys in the closet. So that's my era. And my son actually is a big Redskins fan. When his other side of the family are Dallas Cowboys fans, but he came to the dark side and came with us. And he actually bought me a Redskins hat for Christmas, which was fucking fire by itself. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what was their running back's name in like the early 2000s. Mr. Dude, he was always wearing like crazy shit. He was a really good running back.
Clinton Portis?
Yes, Clinton Portis. Thank you, man. Dude, that guy was the shit. I like rooting for the Redskins, man. And that guy was an awesome running back. And that dude,
that's how we got
That's a flair.
That's how the Broncos got Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Like I fucks with Clinton Portis. He actually followed me like a year ago, that was wild. Like, man, it's so crazy to have celebrities follow you. Like
people that you watched in their prime fucking doing their thing.
Yeah, like it's weird how like when a celebrity likes your post or follows you or hits you up and tell you congrats about the Ocho fight after that fight happened, or like getting asked to come to events and stuff, like that shit's wild. Like I'm still amazed by it, but a lot of people around here where I live, they call me a celebrity, but man, I don't like that title. I'm still a normal person. I still sometimes be able to walk out here freely unless I'm in big crowds and somebody notices who I am, and
that's kind of cool.
Shit gets wild.
Shit
gets wild sometimes. So yeah.
That's cool, man. You've been working your ass off to get there, so it's kind of
cool. Right now.
Hell yeah, man. It's been a hell of a journey.
Yeah. So what is one of my main questions is like, what's a day look like for you? Are you able to kind of focus on your training all the time? Do you have to work still, or do you have enough backing kind of where you're able to just focus on training and your next move as far as fighting goes, or what's that look like?
I mean, I still work for the simple fact of that's how I was raised. You got to work for what you want. I don't care if I have celebrity status or just that amount of money from fighting. I don't care about that. I was born to, I'm not going to say I was born to, but I was raised to always work your ass off. I still work a job just for the simple fact that I love being around cars all the time. I'm a heavy car guy.
I've seen that on your Instagram. Did I not ask the hobbies question?
I don't think we
did you? Do you have any hobbies? There you go. It was on the board, and I think I missed it.
But yeah, man, my hobbies outside of fighting are literally cars. I've been around cars my whole life. Like literally, I'm a big car guy, and most of my friends make fun of me because I'm a big Honda guy. I love Hondas. I've had several Hondas. I've had some rare Hondas, some good Hondas, and right now I got a Dodge Charger.
They don't like the Honda? Fuck them. That's what I'd say.
That's what I say. Honda gang for life. But
whatever,
recently, recently after that Chad fight, you know, I kind of got bored with my Hondas, and I'm the person
That's
after I
hard too.
build a car and do what I want to the car, I get bored with it. So it's time for something else. So I end up getting rid of all my Hondas, and I got my Charger first, and then I was like, man, I got one more Honda left. I'm about to get rid of this too. So I was like, you know what? I think I want a Challenger next. So I
I'm
was
gonna get
like,
off here.
literally a few months later, I got my Challenger. So I got a Charger and a Challenger right now that I'm currently building. So that's my hobby outside of fighting. And
The internet's bad. We'll have better internet tomorrow. Other than that, I'm gonna close this off. I'm gonna get off live. There you go.
but yeah, man, like it's wild. But I love cars. I'm a big car guy. I love Dodges and I love Hondas.
Nice.
I absolutely hate Fords
Go
unless
forward.
unless
What the hell?
unless it's a Ford Velociraptor. Now
There you
that is
go.
one of my dream cars. I would drive that because that is fucking badass.
I'm the type of person, I don't care if it's the hoopty, as long as I get from A to B, I'm cool with whatever it is.
Hell yeah, I
You
used
are?
to have a hoopty. I had a hoopty for a while. I'd still have that hoopty till this day if that lady didn't pull out in front of me and the insurance totaled it.
Right. It's
That
like,
that was
no,
like
this
my
is my
favorite car that
baby.
I've had so far. Huh?
Like, no, this is my baby. Don't total it.
Man, look, when I got into that wreck, the first wreck I ever been in my life, I was more worried about, even though I was hurting, and I did not care about the lady that hit me or nothing. I cared more about my car. I literally instantly got out my car. Was like, oh my God, look at my car. Oh man, I was freaking out. Like I was more worried about my car. The lady's car was all jacked up. Like I didn't care about her. All I cared was my car, literally.
TWB internet.
Yeah.
I feel like if you get rear-ended, you just get out and start fighting. Fuck it.
Yeah. When I was in high school, we were coming back from lunch and we had like 10 people crammed in the car and we were all smoking and it was icy out and this chick ran a stop sign. I didn't know it was a chick at first. A car just hit me and I hopped out of the vehicle like, what the fuck? Like banging on the hood. And then the chick hopped out.
She's like, I am
Oh,
sorry.
I guess I can't beat up a girl.
Get over here, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Fucking punch her in the mouth.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
That's wild.
Anyways, that's it on that.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us?
Not really. I just wanted to just give y'all a personal shout out for having me and giving me an opportunity to come join your show.
Yeah, Brian. No, thank you, dude. It was a good time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for putting up with some of my questions. So
Hey, Jake had some good questions though.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate that for sure.
one like I was saying, don't forget to keep these guys involved, like with some of your training stuff, or if the cool news, if you ended up training with Chad, or the big news with some of your fight stuff. Don't forget to kind of tag us so we can kind of promo you out there too, and kind of keep people in the loop of what you got going on. And love to see you back in Montana. If you do, let us know. And
yeah, because we don't know when
Yes,
the
sir, for
BKFC is
sure.
coming back, but David told us that he'll be back here eventually. So.
Yeah, I think they'll be back in Montana at some point this year. I think in like late spring, early summer, somewhere in there.
That's the time to be up here, dude. So,
but I don't know who am I at the end of the day. But like I said, thank y'all for having me. I'll keep y'all updated as I get everybody else updated and all that good jazz.
yeah.
Hey, we'll be watching.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch your journey, man, for sure.
Are you planning on making Knucklemania? Not gonna make it? What's the
while I'm in fight camp, I try not to be
traveling and shit.
No, I travel like a motherfucker while I'm in fight camp. But when it comes to going to fights and stuff, I try not to be around that atmosphere while I'm in fight camp, just for the simple fact that I'm in fight camp and I need all the time that I can get with fight camp, and it helps me with my focus on a fight, because when I go to fights, I get into the mode of I'm already in fight mode, like I'm there to fight. Even with the guys that I train or train with, when they got fights, like I literally feel like I'm fighting when they're fighting. You feel what I'm saying? And I get buzzed I get buzzed up and hyped up and become the hype man. I get in the fight mode, and I try to stay out of fight mode while I'm in fight camp. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're already in that dog mode. You don't need to antagonize it anymore.
No shit.
Fights.
Yeah.
Now would be the time if you'd want to shout out to your sponsors.
Man, look, I got a big ass list of sponsors, but I want to shout out a few of them right now. Curious Flavors, shout out to those guys. Queen Anne's Revenge, Fusion CBD, Dreamland Organics, Haley Toyota of Roanoke. Shout out to BKFC for giving me an opportunity. Shout out to all friends, family, and my followers and all that good jazz. And shout out to you guys for giving me an opportunity to come on your show. This is a first, and
We'll have to have you come. We'll have to have you back
when
when we got the full squad. Tonight it's me and Jake. Usually Tylin's here, so
yeah. Hey, hope he gets better soon. He messaged me earlier.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened, but he just took a fucking 24-hour spiral.
You want to shout out your gym or your coaches or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely shout out to my coaches at Big Lick Boxing, Round 30 MMA. Damn, look, I train a lot of places, man.
Okay.
Shout out to my I know my West Virginia guys. I go to West Virginia and train like every other week on the weekends. Shout out to those guys at Advantage Martial Arts. Another BKFC fighter trains there, Rick Caruso. I train with those guys, and shout out to everybody, man. 2K23. I'm coming in with a bang. This first fight of the year, I'm telling you, it's going to be big and it's going to go viral. I promise you that.
I want to be. I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah, we're here for it. Whichever fight card it is, we'll probably be watching it.
I mean, I already know what fight card it is. It's just you know how that works.
We don't know, so I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah,
I know how the fight game works, bro. Trust me.
Yes, sir.
Well, with that, Brian, thank you, and
thanks for your time, man.
Shout out to our sponsors, Guerrilla Warfare Apparel, TWB10 at checkout, TWB10 at checkout. Link in the bio. And 20 past 4, your one-stop vape and head shop. 4 locations, 2 in Great Falls, 1 in Helena, 1 in Billings. And our auntie Jamie St. Mark, she's at the boxing fights in Kalispell right now.
Dude, you sound so professional right there.
Thank you, dude.
Awesome.
I did do our intro. We have a new intro for season 4. Go check it out. Start of the episode. Sir. No, I'm just kidding. Just start pointing. Yeah. Fusion. Yeah. All right, Brian. Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, take it easy, man. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Have a good one.